Welcome to the Stable 26 experience. My name is Dr. Daryl Sherman. Today we're going to talk about the function of the foot, footwear fitting, and how they both work together better. So the one thing I'd like to talk to you about first is we describe as negative space. Negative space is basically defined as areas around the foot, gaps around the foot that don't contribute to normal, solid foot mechanics. So that space is basically created by the fact that there's no piece of footwear in the world that's made exactly for your foot. They're made for average size feet. If we look at the average size 10.5 shoe, generally they come in size Ds and double Es, which means that we're trying to put most people's foot into a regular or wide category. We tend to focus at Stable 26 on the heel. The heel is a spot, we can measure the length of the foot and we can measure the width of the forefoot, but unfortunately we just can't measure the heel, and the heel is where all the mechanics happen. So because there's no piece of footwear in the world that's made exactly for your foot, our goal is to make it as close as possible, particularly in the most mechanical spot, which we can't measure. Okay, so the next step is, what is Stable 26? We know that there's negative space in and around the heel that detract for both comfort and performance. What we've done at Stable 26 is we've innovated in the sock industry. We have redefined socks as not being just yarn anymore. Socks are basically the point of connection between the mechanics of your feet and the mechanics of your footwear. And what we focus on at Stable 26 is improving the fit of everyone that leaves the store. At the end of the day, this is not a sock story, this is a fit story. We want everyone that wears footwear to have the best fitting footwear in a place that we can't measure, with the most mechanics happening at the same time. So what we've developed is a sock that can be custom modified with different thicknesses of silicone to take up the negative space around the heel and provide a better fit. At Stable 26, we've spent the last 7 years testing almost exclusively with pro athletes. This is not a product for pro athletes, it's a product for everyone. The reason for using pro athletes was they have custom fit footwear, they have apparently the best fitters, they have the ability to change their footwear before their footwear changes on them, and they have the highest physical demands. So vetting our product with professional athletes would allow us to vet ourselves with the consumer market, where you don't have all those options for custom fit footwear and the ability to change. The hockey package, as it comes in the store, includes a pair of hockey socks, pre-packed with silicone in the most common combination that we see, which is 2mm pad on the inside and a 4mm pad on the outside. It comes with a mesh bag for washing. We've taken our cues from pro hockey in the fact that we want socks to be equipment now, not just socks. So you wash and dry with the silicone in, you don't have to take it out. You just put it in the mesh bag, wash it and dry it, and put it right back with your hockey bag. It also comes with a fitting guide that will describe the fitting process in more detail. If you need more silicone beyond what comes already pre-packed in there that will fit 75 to 80% of your people out of the box, you can buy a hockey custom fit pack that includes 2 2mm pads, 2 4mm pads, and 2 6mm pads that will give you a combination of about 32 different fit combinations. So here we have a very typical foot. Showing some anatomical landmarks. This is the rear foot, our midfoot, and our forefoot. This is the lateral malleolus, which we'll call the outside ankle bone. This is the medial malleolus, which we'll call the inside ankle bone. This is the fibula, which is the bone on the outside of the leg, and the tibia in front. If we take a look at other anatomical landmarks, the important part of the Stable 26 product are the lateral and medial stabilizers that help to stabilize the subtalar joint. The subtalar joint controls the entire foot in front of it as well as the entire lower extremity. And we can see how the subtalar joint moves as I move it directly. So we see the arch collapsing, and we see this joint is essentially the master control system for the foot in front of it and the lower extremity. Okay, so we're going to fit Jesse today with his current skates. We're skipping a couple of steps here. If this was a brand new skate fitting, what we would basically do is we would measure Jesse's foot. We would find out the length of his foot, the width of his forefoot. We would try as much as possible to figure out exactly what kind of volume Jesse had, so that when we go to the skate wall, we can pick the skate that most closely represents the shape of his foot. Because Jesse already has had his custom heating and his footbeds and that sort of thing, What we would do in a new skate sale is we would actually make sure that all the changes that are going to happen inside the boot are going to change what's happening with the foot. So we want to make sure that those are done first before we microfit or custom fit with Stable 26. So we've assumed that this is the right skate for him. We've assumed that we've done his heating. We've got footbeds in here. So now the time is to finish the sale with Stable 26 foot gear. So Jesse has the socks on already. So I'm going to get Jesse to put his foot up here for me. What we want to see in the socks, we want to see that the silicone lays flat against the skin so it's not wrinkled or moved around, the socks pulled up appropriately. But that pocket should fit directly underneath your ankle bone. Okay, in that position, it's going to hit the subtalar joint, both on the outside and the inside. What comes in the box that's already pre-packed in the sock, we've already kind of done your homework for you and given you a starting point of where you start the fitting process, is there's a 2mm pad, which is the thinnest pad on the inside of the foot, and there's a 4mm pad, which is the middle thickness on the outside. This will fit sort of 75 to 80% of your people will have a better day in their skates just with what comes in the box. If we need to custom fit further from that, then we can use a custom fit pack, which will give you another 32 different fit combinations. So this could be very, very simple, and it can be very complex if you need it to be. If you find that the silicone or the pocket comes down underneath the ankle, that means that the sock is too small. On the other hand, if we notice that the pocket rises up, then we need to go down a size in terms of our sock. We have socks that are from extra small all the way to extra large. The sizes on the package are actually guidelines. You might find that a short, thicker foot, you might have to go up a size, and a long, thinner foot, you need to drop a size, just like you would in a skate. So I'm going to have Jesse put the skates on now, and we're going to evaluate the fit. Okay, so Jesse now has his skate on, and one of the important things as a fitter is it's always very difficult to get your fingers in there around the heel to be able to tell you whether there's space. We're always looking for feedback to ask the customer, how does that fit? How does that feel? Please describe it. Because in a lot of cases, the customer doesn't know exactly what to tell you. So usually the answer is, yeah, it feels pretty good. So again, we're assuming Jesse's skate has already been heated. He's already got his footbeds in. So we're starting at a point of trying to microfit this skate once he's got everything else changed. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask Jesse now, how does that feel? And can you describe it for me in detail? And what you want to hear is, my heel feels really supported. What you don't want to hear is you don't want to hear things like pressure. Pressure is bad. Pain is obviously bad. Numbness is a thing that we can feel after a little bit. That means that there's too much silicone in there. And the other thing we don't want to hear is the fact that the foot feels like it's pushed to the front, because that usually means that there's too much silicone. So those are the things we want to look for and we're constantly asking for. Negative feedback in fitting is very, very important because it allows us to direct us where we're going to go next with our fitting. So right now Jesse's got what's in the box, which is a 2mm pad with thin pad on the inside and a 4mm pad or the medium pad on the outside. What I'm going to then ask him to do is I'm going to ask him to stand up. Okay, because the foot's going to change position. So Jesse, stand up for me. Bend your knee and get into a weight-bearing position. So what we're going to do here is we're going to ask the same sort of questions again. How does that feel? Describe it in detail. Does it feel like your heel's supported? And allow them to answer your questions in as much detail as they can. So in this scenario, 75 to 80% of population will have a better day in their skates with what's already in the box. If we need to custom modify further, if we have a scenario where they're saying they're giving you some negative feedback, so if they say, you know what, it feels like there's a little bit too much silicone, then we're going to drop the size. So we're going to go from a 2mm pad on the inside and a 4mm pad on the outside to a 2mm pad on the inside and a 2mm pad on the outside. So essentially what we're doing is we're dropping down to the next size and then reevaluating again, asking the same questions. If we have a scenario where he feels like he needs a little bit more silicone, then we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to add a thicker piece of silicone. And what we're going to do is we're going to add that thicker piece of the silicone to the inside. So we're going to do a 4mm pad on the inside and a 4mm pad on the outside. So essentially, those three scenarios will fit 97% of your population. If you need to custom fit further, you might find that your left foot's different than your right foot, which is very, very common. The socks combined with a custom fit pack will give you 32 different fit combinations. So whether you're a fitter who's been doing this for 20 years or a young fitter who's been doing this or an inexperienced fitter who's been doing this for less than a month, at the end of the day, the goal is to have everyone leave the store with the best fitting pair of skates possible. One of the questions we often get is, how do we sell this product? What's the best time to introduce it to the customer? In hockey, there's a number of ways to sell the product. Obviously, we want everyone to leave the store with the best fitting pair of skates possible. So the first strategy that we use is with new skates. We believe that almost every skate fitting should be accompanied by a pair of socks. At the end of the day, we're selling a concept of fit, not socks. So the best thing to do is when you're fitting a new pair of skates, the ultimate goal is to fit them, get the skate that most closely represents their foot, and then microfit with Stable 26 later. At the end of the day, we want everyone to leave the store with the best fit. The other place that we see being very effective selling this product for skates are at the sharpener. We know that 100% of those skates that are at the sharpener don't fit the same way they did when they were new. So using that dynamic boot fitting protocol that we talk about is that we want those people to leave the store with the best fitting skates possible. As skates are used over time, the internal volume packs out and changes. Our sock can be changed right along with it. Women and girls. There are no such thing in the world as a woman's hockey skate. Fortunately or unfortunately, women's feet are very different than men's feet. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to put women's feet into men's skates. And unfortunately, the negative space in there is pretty great. The other one is goaltenders. Goaltenders don't tend to have the same opportunity to have the same choice that the average player does. They spend their entire time on their heels. Our NHL goalies right now are using a lot of silicone with fully custom fit skates. So I can just imagine what the average consumer has to go through. The last one is kids. Parents will come in, they'll have an expensive stick, they're putting a lot of money into power skating and training and that sort of thing, but they don't want to buy skates that necessarily fit perfectly right now. So what we can do is we can say, I understand. We can use our product to be able to custom fit the heel. As the foot grows, you put thinner silicone in. So what you can see is from every strategy we're trying to use, we're trying to make sure that new skates, used skates, everywhere, skates of every size and shape are fit the best way they can when they leave the store and when they're on the ice. At Stable 26, our ultimate goal is to sell a concept of fit. We want to ensure that every single person coming through your store leaves the store with the best fit. This is not about selling socks. This is about ensuring that all of your customers have the best experience as they leave the store. Footwear is so important to us that we want that footwear to fit from start to finish. We developed a concept that we call dynamic boot fitting, and boot fitting or shoe fitting or skate fitting should be every bit as important at point of purchase as it is in month 2, in month 6, in month 60. So at the end of the day, fit equals performance and comfort.